Hi there and welcome to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to be setting up some tomatoes and cucumbers in the Kratky hydroponic method. So I started these about a month ago. As you can see, they got some roots coming out the bottom. They are ready to get set up in a container with some nutrients. So I'm going to just walk you through the setup and show you how it's done. So let's get started. So if this is the first time to my channel, my name is Tracy and I am a year-round gardener living on the prairies in Saskatchewan, Canada. And right now it is indoor gardening season on the prairies, so everything is all about hydroponics right now. So I have a whole batch of tomatoes and cucumbers that have kind of grown and gone, and now I'm just starting another round, hoping to get another harvest done before spring and the outdoor gardening season starts. So cucumbers are one of the more challenging things that I have found with indoor hydroponics. So I'm going to just try something a little different by using a larger vessel for the setup for my cucumbers. Normally I've been using these Folgers coffee containers. This is kind of one of the larger sized ones. And I don't know if maybe it's just not a big enough space for the root system for cucumbers, but I find that I only get a harvest of a few cucumbers and then the plant kind of dies off. So I'm going to be trying a different container. This is a much larger container that maybe with the more space, the root system will be healthier and maybe we'll have a more productive harvest. So I'm going to give it a try. These tomatoes that I am growing here are a dwarf variety cherry tomato. So right now in the grow tent, I have an indeterminate cherry tomato going, and I also have a determinate tomato plant going that's going to produce larger tomatoes. These, as I said, are a cherry, so they should produce well. I've had really good luck with this variety in my indoor growing. I've grown them in my grow tent in this kind of a system, also in the DWC system, like an arrow garden or a let pot. These do really well. So we're going to just set these up in Kratky containers today along with the cucumbers. We're going to mix up the nutrients, do a quick EC and a pH test, and then get them in the grow tent. So I'm going to be doing a two-part nutrient solution in my setups here today. I often do use the three-part nutrient system, but I just trying out this root farm. I've used it before. It's always worked good for me. So there's going to be the two-part. So to that, I'm also going to be adding some Cal Magic, which is just a little extra calcium and magnesium. So just so you know what I'm growing here for varieties, this cucumber is called the Mini-Me cucumber. So I picked up these seeds from West Coast Seeds, and these are parthenocarpic varieties, which means they only produce female flowers. So those are good kind to grow indoors because you don't have to worry about the pollination. You'll find when you grow these that it shoots off tons of female flowers, tons of little fruits. The key for me is just to get those to keep growing, because what I'm finding is a lot of them are dying off. I get one or two cucumbers off the plant, but I can't seem to keep it going and keep it producing. I've seen lots of videos of people using the Kratky method for cucumbers and, having good success. So it's just one of those things about gardening, trial and error. Keep trying different things, keep track of what you tried, what failed, what's done well, and hopefully, you can get it perfected. So today I'm trying a bigger container here. We're going to put it in the grow tent and hopefully it works. And I guess something that I'm doing different as well is I'm using a two-part solution as opposed to a three-part, which I've used before, but not sure if that'll make much difference. So this has got 8 liters of water in it, so that's equivalent to 2 of these jugs. I'm going to mix up another jug of this here, and we'll use that on the 2 tomato containers here to fill them up. And I'm going to be following the directions on the back of the containers here. Whatever you're using for your nutrients, just always follow the table on the back. So according to the measurement table on the back here, for the seedling stage, we need 5 mils of both part 1 and part 2. And then for the Cali Magic, it is also 5 milliliters to a 4-liter container. So for this then, because we have double the amount of water, we are just going to double the measurements of this and mix it right into the container here. Okay, so we have the containers all mixed up with the nutrient water. And when you're filling them up, you want to just make sure that the water is touching the bottom of your net cup if you don't have any roots coming out yet. I can see when I look in here that they're very close to coming out the bottom. So once they start drinking up that nutrient water, those roots will really take off, and within a few days you should see some of them popping through the bottom. Over here with my cucumbers, you can see it's already shooting some roots right down there. So I've just made sure that the water level in this container is reaching those roots. You don't want to drown them, so you want to make sure they're still getting some air. So just bring that water level up to the roots and they will grow down and start taking in nutrients. So now we're going to take our EC meter and our pH meter and do readings on these just to make sure that they are at the optimal level. So I usually try to keep my nutrient level in a range of 0.8 to 1.5 or 2, kind of at the lower range when they're just seedlings. At the EC level doesn't need to be too high when they're seedlings. So we're going to do a reading here with our EC meter. You can do a ppm or EC reading. I'm just doing EC readings. Just put it into the water. It pretty much gives you an instant reading. This one's coming out at 0.78, so it's very close to that 0.8. Let's see what this one comes out to. Usually I shut it off, reset, just to make sure it doesn't, gives me a true reading. So this one's coming out of just slightly higher at 0.814. So I always just add a decimal, so 0.8. So I think that's good as well. And then over here where we got the cucumber that we doubled up the recipe for, we'll see how it turned out. A little bit higher, so 0.950, so 0.9. So I think the EC level for all 3 of these is good right now. And so later on when they start growing and blooming and ready to produce some fruit, I usually mix up a jug of stronger solution, nutrient solution at that blooming and fruiting stage in this container like this, and I just keep topping it up, adding to the container as they slowly draw that water down. So after you've done an EC, then you want to do a pH, and pH should always be between 5.5 to 6.5. The plants can't absorb those nutrients if the pH level is too high or too low. So you always want to keep your pH in that optimal range of 5.5 to 6.5. Let's see where we're at. I'm using my tap water that normally when I do testing on it, it comes out with a high pH level that I usually have to adjust. And when you're using a pH meter, it takes a little longer for the reading to come through. You have to let it sit in here for about 30 seconds or 4 to get that true reading when it finally stabilizes. You're finding I'm going a little too fast, and indoor hydroponics is something that you are just interested in learning more about, then I highly suggest checking out my online course that I have just released. You'll find the link to it in the description box below. And my course is about 90 minutes of step-by-step tutorials that'll take you through everything from seed to harvest on starting lettuces indoors using this cracky hydroponic method. So I will go through all the equipment that you need, how to set up the system, the hydroponic system, and then how to do all these measuring of the nutrients and how to use the meters and pretty much everything you need to know step by step. So if you have that course, you can, take it at your own pace. And if you, miss something in my tutorial today, then you can, you have the course to go back to and kind of re-watch over and over again if needed. So I highly recommend it if you want to get into indoor hydroponics. Check it out in the link below. Okay, so my pH reading came out at 7.61. I'm not sure if you can see that, but that means that the pH is a little bit too high and these little roots aren't going to be able to properly absorb the nutrients they need to grow. So we need to do an adjustment to the pH and bring that number down. So a pH up and down kit is something that you probably want to have for adjusting your pH if you find that it's always not falling into that range. So we are going to be doing a pH down to each of these. So basically all you need to do is add about 5 mils to start with. You don't need to put a whole lot in there. I usually start with like a 5 mil measurement, put it into the water, stir it around a little bit, and then take another reading. And usually that will be all you need to bring that pH down to that 5.5 to 6.5 range. Tested them. This one's 6.4, 6.3, 6.4. So they're all fallen within that 5.5 to 6.5 pH level that we want it. If you feel you want to lower it a little bit more, you can add a few more drops and just adjust it. But I think this is good to go for now. I always recommend checking your pH, every few days just to see for some reason if it's fluctuated and adjust accordingly. So these are all set up. They are ready to go into my grow tent. And if you are doing something like this and you don't have a grow tent, then grow lights, these are just LED shop lights that I purchased at Lowe's. They work great. You have a shelf that you can fit them on. I have a lot more space obviously in my grow tent, so that's where these are going to go. So we will get them set up and I will keep you posted on the growth of these. If anybody has any suggestions on how to successfully have, a continuous harvest of cucumbers using this method, please let me know in the comments. I'm hoping that this is going to produce a lot more cucumbers than I've gotten in the past. So please smash that like button. It really helps out my channel. And don't forget to subscribe. And we will see you on the next video.